Welcome, everybody, to the Liverpool Reaction and American LFC podcast. Coach Ralph is not feeling well, so he will not be joining me today. However, I do want to discuss the two cup games that happened over the last 4 days. So let's start with Thursday. Tottenham versus Liverpool at Anfield. Tottenham was up 1-0 from the first leg, and Liverpool were on fire during this game. The goals came quickly with Cody Gakpo scoring, Mo putting away a penalty in the 51st. We had Dominic Szoboszlai in the 75th minute actually scoring. Beautiful play through Connor Bradley, who put him through, and then Van Dijk scoring on a header from a corner kick to really seal the deal. So Liverpool wins 4-1 over the two ties and has guaranteed themselves a slot in the Carabao Cup final. Now, today, Liverpool made massive changes to their team, playing a team in Plymouth Argyle that is at the bottom of the championship, and Liverpool were very disjointed. There was a couple senior players that didn't play very well to be, that's kind of being nice about it. And Liverpool crash out of the FA Cup 1-0 today. Now, the game lacked a lot of things. It lacked leadership, I think, is the most important aspect to kind of think about this game. So what happened was that there was nobody that took control of the game. That's really the reality of it, and goes to show you how important a vocal captain that can get you fired up. There was nobody there that was interested in really rallying the troops, or maybe nobody capable of doing that, which goes to show you how important Van Dijk is also, not only as a player, but as a vocal captain. And, it was an ugly game, really. I was cooking breakfast for my family and was kind of watching and just could not believe the level of Liverpool as far as their skill level and the team just playing well. It just wasn't there. It was one of those days, I think, too, that Arne Slot kind of put out a team that he thought could squeak by Plymouth, and it just didn't happen. Unfortunately, Joe Gomez gets hurt again. I believe it is an injury. However, there are reports out there that he was ill, and maybe that was what pulled him from the game. And I hope that's all it was, because Joe Gomez has been extremely unlucky with injuries, one thing after another, and it's got to be really tough on a soccer player, football player, to just continually getting injured. Any athlete, actually, to continue getting injured and working so hard to get back, and then all of a sudden one or two things and boom, you're injured again. So anyway, that's difficult, and I understand that. The game was extremely blah, really, but Plymouth Argyle showed some fight, and they were definitely playing this game like it was their Super Bowl. It is Super Bowl Sunday here in the States, and in about 5 hours, the game will start, and you could tell on any block, anything the goalie did, even though a lot of it was late in the game. They were really excited to take on Liverpool and were really in the game and pumping their fists when they did something well. And unfortunately for Harvey Elliott, he made a challenge in the box, and his hands up were way too high, and the ball hit his hands, and that's it. It was a penalty. Hardy for Plymouth Argyle slots it to the left when Kelleher went to the right, and that was that. So, what does this all mean, as we kind of look forward? Disappointing performance today against Plymouth Argyle. However, none of the starters were playing today. Nobody from a defensive standpoint, maybe Tsimikas, but I think he played this game because Robertson will play on Wednesday. And the midfield was no Dominic, no McAllister, no Gravenberch. The defense wasn't Kanate and Van Dijk. I mean, so as we kind of look forward to Wednesday in the last, Liverpool derby, Liverpool versus Everton derby at Goodison Park, it's interesting to think what this is going to look like. It's going to be a very emotional game from an Everton standpoint. Last one at their stadium. So we'll see what happens. I think realistically, Coach Slot made the right decision to sit everybody. And unfortunately, nobody on Liverpool's side today made a good account of themselves to let Slot know that, hey, I'm here and I want to be part of this. So it's interesting from that standpoint. Now, when we played PSV in the Champions League, there was a big rotation in that squad with the idea that Bournemouth is around the corner. And although that game was a well-fought battle, we did come out with a 2-0 victory, and that's important. Now, what is the thought process here for against Everton? It's going to be a difficult game for sure. They always tend to be. However, I have a sneaking suspicion that Liverpool is going to close out that stadium with a 2-0, 3-0 type of performance. The fact that we were able to rest all our players in a critical time of the season today against Plymouth Argyle, I think is going to show the importance of it and how it's going to impact the team on Wednesday. I am extremely optimistic of this game against Everton on Wednesday. I know these games tend to be less about playing style and more about passion. However, I think we have too much for Everton, and with them losing Dominic Calvert-Lewin, and they do have Njai now that's playing well, and the defense is starting to come together under David Moyes, but I think we have too much for them, and I really do see a 2-3-0 victory against them. What does this all mean as we kind of move along in the season? We have Everton, then we have Wolves and Aston Villa in another double game week for those fantasy players out there. And then right after that is Manchester City, and then Newcastle. So this next stretch of, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 games is really critical. It reminds you of that stretch in late November and December when Liverpool was facing Manchester City and Real Madrid in the Champions League. And although they were dinged up and, weren't at full strength, those were important games. And we did get we went through a run there where we won all the games. So this was, end of November being Madrid, then Manchester City, then a tie against Newcastle, then the Fulham game. We also beat Girona in between those games. Southampton was a difficult game, even though they're at the bottom of the table. Is a 2-1 victory, and then 6-3 against Tottenham, 3-1 against Leicester, 5-0 against West Ham. So that was a tough stretch of games there, and Liverpool did come out on top with being at the top of the table when Christmas came around, and then now the new year, a pretty decent January, especially considering that 2 games were kind of thrown away in the PSV game and obviously today. So what's going to happen? I think Liverpool's in great position. I think Liverpool will challenge. Obviously, we're in the Carabao Cup final. We will absolutely challenge in the Champions League. Knockout stages, anything can happen. But the fact that it's 2 legs and, you have to come to Anfield, which is I don't even think debatable as one of the, the best stadiums in the world as far as atmosphere and the fans and the singing. And it's, I'm really looking forward to the opportunity to go to Anfield. And, I joke around with my other Liverpool friends saying that this is going to be, it's going to be an emotional moment for me when I go. However, anyway, I digress. So then we have the Premier League. This is the game in hand that we've had with Everton because there was a storm when this game was first scheduled to play and was postponed. And this is the game in hand. And I was just on with the American Scousers, and one of them made a point about a draw here actually is still a 3-match window that Arsenal or whoever's going to be competing against us here, really closest to us, is going to have to overcome, and that is a lot. However, 9 points would be even more impressive, and I think we are going to move in that direction. Although it is a derby, and this game will have emotions in it. However, I just feel that we have better players to be able to play quicker than Everton. So, if they come out on fire, we'll be able to play around them. However, knowing David Moyes and the defensive stature of his type of strategy, they might sit back a little bit more. Probably would make sense for them to sit back and counter. But our full squad will be there, all the starters, and I believe that we will get it done. So, Premier League looking great. Champions League, interesting potential draw against the teams that will be playing. I know Monaco is one of them. PSG is another one. Benfica is another one. And I believe Brest is the last one. So we'll play one of those 4 teams. And Champions League stuff, all these teams are very, very good. And there's a reason that when you lift that trophy and you're the best in Europe, because you go through a gauntlet of very, very good teams. So anyway, hope you enjoyed this. Coach Ralph will hopefully be feeling better and will join me on Wednesday or Thursday when we discuss the Everton game. Anyway, I hope you guys have a great weekend. As far as the Super Bowl, let me just say, I'm going Eagles. And I think they'll win by 4 or 5 points. I think it'll be like a 27-23 type of game, 28-23 kind of game. And the Eagles will be hoisting their second Super Bowl up. And I have many friends that are Eagles fans, and I know they'll be biting their fingernails watching this game. From the Chiefs' standpoint, to be honest, I'm just fed up with them. I think they've been extremely lucky. Anyway, this is a soccer podcast, not a football podcast, but it is Super Bowl Sunday, and it is almost like a national holiday here in the U.S. Anyway, everybody, take care. Hope you have a great rest of your weekend. Enjoy the Super Bowl, and we will catch you next time. Bye-bye.